Hundreds of high school students in Jefferson County, Colorado, walked out of class in protest over, quote, conservative censorship of the National Advanced Placement U.S. History class curriculum. So teachers actually protested right alongside the students, too, because the new material is clearly inaccurate. So what happened is that 3 conservative candidates were elected to the school board, and they've been taking a wrecking ball to the system and the curriculum ever since. Quote, the right-leaning board members said they believe history teachers should teach nationalism, respect for authority, and reverence for free markets. They should avoid teaching any historical events or acts that promote civil disorder, social strife, or disregard of law. Now let's pause there. Think about how radical that is. So you want to have a school that does not teach critical thinking, they teach submission to authority. That's what they're saying. Respect for authority is what you teach. Okay, well then you have to disregard some of the most important, if not the most important parts of U.S. history. I mean, what was the civil rights movement? The civil rights movement, that was when people got together and said, we're going to stand up against these unjust laws. The authority is being unjust, so now we're going to fight against it. To teach adherence to authority and respect for authority in all cases, you know what you're left with when you do that? North Korea. You're left with a dictatorship. You're left with, an overclass, and then, of course, the overclass will abuse their authority. And also, to teach nothing but love of free markets, well, then you have to leave out a gigantic, very important part of American history, the New Deal. You have to leave out FDR and the way that we effectively fought the Great Depression by doing all these very popular social safety net programs and work programs and how that was incredibly important in getting out of the Great Depression. If you talk only about, love of free markets, then you're leaving out arguably the most important thing economically. You'd also have to leave out the 2008 Great Recession, because what led to that? Unfortunately, it was massive deregulation and unfettered capitalism that led to the 2008 Great Recession. So you can't just teach adherence to the free market as if it's some sort of a religion, because that's childish. That doesn't reflect the reality. That's not historical. And then even, just the idea of teaching pure nationalism. But pure nationalism is like to say your country is always right. But to say your country is always right in any country is wrong. So, for example, what are we supposed to say about the Native American genocide? What are we supposed to say about that? What are we supposed to say about slavery and Jim Crow? What are we supposed to say about the Japanese internment camps? I mean, you can't teach pure nationalism, but this is what happens when right-wingers take control. They want to rewrite history to suit their own purposes. I love how a lot of people wrongly believe that, there's, manipulating of history on both sides of the political aisle. Wrong. Stephen Colbert said it best. Reality has a well-known liberal bias. Okay? It's not changing history to say slavery is bad. It is accurate. It is factual. It's not changing history to say, hey, the civil rights movement was great. No. That's fairly factual. Maybe from the perspective of a Confederate-loving former slave owner's son, that's not a good thing, but fuck that guy. That guy's wrong. That guy wants to hold down other people's rights. So the changing of history exclusively happens on the right. It does not happen on the left. Okay, so it's just pathetic. Now, here's my favorite quote. This is from a guy named Larry Krieger, who's fighting to make all textbooks around the U.S. more conservative. He said this, quote, as I read through the document, I saw a consistently negative view of American history that highlights oppressors and exploiters. Okay, maybe because that happened, so you need to talk about it. He continues, while the narrative may be historically true, progressives are going to be the heroes in this narrative. Oh, that is the most telling quote ever. He's saying, look, it might be true everything that the progressives are saying happened, but you're saying that history is on the side of progressives, and we don't like that. You're admitting that you're wrong as you're trying to tell us to change the curriculum. Why would we do that if you're admitting you're wrong and if you're admitting progressives are right and what they're saying is, quote, historically true? The leader of the movement to get conservative books in the United States, in all these different states, just admitted, yeah, the progressives have it historically right. To say that this movement and these people are knuckleheads is such an understatement. So, with that being said, I totally support the people, the teachers, and the students who are doing these walkouts and doing these protests to try to get their textbooks to actually be textbooks again.